Welcome to Discovering. Tonight I have a couple of stories for you from late fall. First, we found some perfect November weather to do a little bit of diver duck hunting.
What little migration we get, but we'll get enough to keep us happy.
And a quick story about a buffalo ranch in the Western U.P. where I had the opportunity to help harvest one of these magnificent animals. So sit back and relax. It's Monday night and it's time for Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone, forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak, surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields, call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill, the eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
In early November, before the firearm deer season consumed the lives of Michigan sportsmen and women, a few avid duck hunters took to the Western U.P. waters and let me tag along on a few trips.
I really don't think they're all down yet from Canada. Hopefully, if we get a good north wind, it'll bring them all down. We still got a few days of season left before, well, everybody knows deer season's next week. So hopefully we can get in a couple more hunts before then.
So is duck hunting closed at deer season, or?
No, everybody just goes deer hunting.
Duck season here in the UP runs from September 30th through November 26th, and a couple more days December 2nd and 3rd. If you're looking for migratory ducks, your best time is in the later part of the season.
When it freezes up in Canada, which I figure ought to be pretty soon now, maybe by the weekend. It's supposed to be cold up there. You got to watch the weather in Canada. And they'll come streaming across what little migration we get, but we'll get enough to keep us happy.
We're diver duck hunting. Divers, also known as diving ducks, are migratory waterfowl which feed below the surface of the water. Some divers will dive over 20 feet deep, and some, like buffleheads, will spend up to half their life foraging underwater.
We got all the buffleheads coming through now, basically, and some golden eyes. And the wood ducks are long gone, teal are long gone.
Oh, they've already migrated?
They're gone, yeah. So we're on the tail end, and that's where we get our buffleheads and maybe a few redheads, a canvasback, a bluebill. Divers mostly, all divers on the bigger lakes.
The Michigan DNR website lists 15 diver duck species which migrate through, breed, or live here year-round. For divers, we need to be out on larger bodies of water, ideally in a boat converted into a floating duck blind. Thankfully, the UP is home to plenty of lakes. However, November isn't really known for lake day weather. What I learned in these 3 days is the worse the weather is, the better the duck hunting. And duck hunters, especially Yoopers or even displaced Yoopers, can and will endure just about any foul weather conditions to get out hunting when ducks are migrating through.
The snow, the wind, makes great duck hunting weather. Like I said, the only thing crazier than ice fishermen is a duck hunter.
Why do they like the snow and the wind?
They keeps them moving and makes them restless. They want to move. They want to migrate. They don't know if they should take off, stay. And they just get restless and move around a lot.
On day one of our 3-day hunt, it was just Nate and John and me behind the camera. It appeared we were a little early yet for divers and didn't spot many while scouting for a place to set up.
Is there a method to your madness?
Oh, can't you tell?
This spot was shallow enough for the guys to stand in the water while I sat in the boat to film from behind them. It was pretty quiet.
All right, Nate, what are we doing here today?
Looks like we're bird watching. That's about it.
We're looking for ringnecks that aren't here.
Where are they?
They were here. Hopefully they'll start flying a little later on.
After a long hunt, a couple of unlucky ringneck ducks did fly by.
Got one.
I'm going to call these 2 ducks a success, but we would have had better luck trapping muskrat. Day 2. It was early, very early, but the moon and the stars were worth jumping in a boat long before the average person pours their first cup of coffee. This time, we had 2 duck blind boats, one for them and one for me. We are hunting in this spot because of the wind direction.
West-southwest wind, which kind of kills us for the spot we were going to go to. We're going to try this and hopefully it pays off for us.
Same routine, the guys set up a spread of decoys of various duck species in front of the boat blind.
Well, we got a pretty easy setup. Divers are not as smart as the puddler ducks, as mallards and everything, especially these coming out of Canada. So we can get away with a boat blind like this. Usually we set up 2 strings of decoys, just a couple lines, and they'll come right into them.
And that's just what they did.
It's a big golden eye.
A pair of bald eagles who must be familiar with duck hunters and easy meals were quick to scoop up our first duck.
Legs out. Ooh, got it.
There goes our duck, Kristen. That pretty much sums this trip up.
Our luck did get better though, and the guys picked up 5 more. And we did get these ones in time before the eagles could fly off with them. Being on a lake, we can't send a dog out to recover ducks. So we have to be our own retrievers. A second reason for the second boat, besides for me to film from. The daily bag limit is 6 ducks of any species per person. However, they can't be just any ducks.
If you shoot the wrong ducks, you could get in trouble. You gotta be able to identify them. Like you're only allowed 1 bluebill. You can get 6 buffleheads. You can only allowed a couple of canvasbacks. You can only get a couple of redheads. So you got to be careful what you shoot. So bird identification is vital. Are we going duck hunting Saturday? Well, Saturday'd be a good day. I mean, there was a few ducks here, actually more than I thought. But they just didn't want to decoy too good this morning. But we got a snowstorm blowing in now.
Day 3, the snowflakes got bigger. But the wind direction allowed us to hunt on the other side of the lake, where we would have a better chance of more ducks. New game plan is to pile all 4 of us into the bigger boat, and Nate would use a canoe for retrieving ducks.
It's gonna be a canoe day.
I'm not sure if it was the weather, the day, or our location, or a combination of all of those, but we had more success.
Shoot him.
hit her camera when I was swinging my gun. I just so had him. Ain't got no bullets left. Hold on, a whole bunch.
Kristen?
John?
Make sure you put that "I don't got no bullets left" on the TV.
These little ducks are fast, and many of them were skirting the far edge of our decoy spread.
These divers especially come through at Mach 10. I mean, they're flying, especially when they got a wind with them.
So you gotta like shoot ahead of them?
Oh, way ahead. Sometimes even that ain't far enough.
Like how far ahead?
Well, at that distance, even we were close. That was 20 yards. You still have to lead them 5-6 feet. They're coming. Ducks always come land into the wind. So hopefully they're hanging up when they do that, and they're coming at you, so you just float them on your bead and give it to them. But after that first shot, then everything flares out, and then that's when the leads come in.
Most of our ducks today are migrating buffleheads. Bufflehead are very small, compact ducks with large heads and short bills.
It's got the purples and the greens. Get that big golden one.
Ooh, yeah, try it.
Wow, we got ducks everywhere. I got mine.
I shot.
I shot the one on the left.
We got a whole herd coming in here.
Oh, get the male. Well, we got a mess going on now. Ooh, that one took me. Oh. That thing skipped. This is a good one. I'm gonna get that male.
After a couple hours, the guys were 2 ducks short of a 3-man limit.
That's a bufflehead beat down right there.
So they had the brilliant idea to put me in the hot seat and try my hand at shooting one of these little rockets. With Dave and I on each end with shotguns and Nate now as cameraman, we were aiming for 2 more ducks to finish the morning.
Kristen, right here.
Well, we would have froze to death or ran out of ammo before I hit a duck, so after a half hour or so of me missing ducks by a mile, we called it a day.
These are not what you want to cut your teeth on if you haven't done it before.
I told the guys I'd find an old duck hunt video game and practice before they took me out again.
Duck hunting's a lot of fun. Get you out in the morning.
Go duck hunting with these 2 lot?
Oh, we've been duck hunting since we were kids. We've been duck hunting a long time. We've duck hunted all over North Dakota here, everywhere. But like I said, it's just CUP. You got to find something to do.
In the early 1900s, farms covered much of the landscape of Ontonagon County. After the great giant white pine forests were chopped down and hauled south to build cities, and the World's Fair load of logs was put on display in Chicago in 1893, the stumps from this cut-over land were cleared out to make farmland. Over the decades, farming decreased more and more, and today only a few farms are left operating. In Ewan, not all that far from where that World's Fair load of logs was cut down, roams a herd of buffalo on 400 acres of old farm country land. Now, the actual term for this iconic mammal is American bison, but they've been called buffalo for so long now that it's commonplace, and I'll use it interchangeably here. An estimated 30 to 100 million bison once roamed the Great Plains before 1800. During the 19th century, settlers and the U.S. government slaughtered most of them, and by the 1980s, fewer than 1,000 remained. Through conservation efforts and livestock ranches, there are now 500,000 buffalo roaming almost every state today, including Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Kent Pitlick owns the U.P. Outfitters Game Farm in Ewan.
Well, I started coming up here. I knew the people that owned the farm before me, and I used to come up here and deer hunt a little bit around it. And then I had a friend, we decided to grow some deer, and we put up the fence, got some deer in, and then a friend of mine actually called me up. He says, "You want a few buffalo? I know somebody that's selling some." So I said, "Why not?" And we started off just basically by accident with the buffalo, and it just grew from there. But it started off as a hobby, you know, kind of. The buffalo, of course, I have enough grazing land. It's 400 acres, it's half field. So from whenever the grass is green, they just graze, and they're on their own all summer long, and there's enough water on the land. And during the winter, of course, when the snow gets foot deep or deeper, then we feed them every week.
This fall, I was contacted by the property caretaker, Brian Mackey, if I would like to come harvest a buffalo for one of Kent's repeat clients. Without hesitation, I said yes, because how often does the opportunity to harvest the largest and most emblematic animal in our country come around? After I hung up the phone, though, I was worried it would be like walking up to a cow and shooting it. I wasn't sure what to expect. Thankfully, it was not that easy. It took us going out into the property 3 times to be successful.
As soon as I clicked that safety off, he turned his head, and then when I finally had another shot again, I hesitated. Sorry, Kent.
That's what they do when one makes up their mind to move.
They're all moved. That's what, yeah.
Take off.
I see.
Yeah. There they go.
Buffalo are herd animals, so it can be difficult to separate one to get the perfect shot opportunity and at close range. And separate the right one. We are looking for a 700 to 800 pound bull to harvest.
Usually the 2-year-olds are about 800, 750. 3-year-olds around 900, 1,000, the bulls. And then of course you let them grow, the bulls will go up over a ton. If you look with the binoculars, you look at their horns, the bulls are more straight, and the cows, the horns curl in.
Oh, the cow's curling. Okay, so the one walking towards us right now is a cow, then?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The most ethical shot is right behind the ear.
Well, we shoot them behind the ear. Their skull is so tough. I mean, a really big gun will probably blow through it, but when we shoot them behind the ear, we hit their spine, and they drop. There's no running away, they just fall right in their tracks. And of course, that's, it's best for the meat and best for the animal.
Finally, the 3rd time out, I had a shot on a bull Kent would harvest.
That's cool.
It was really cool to be so close to these magnificent animals.
It's really quite an animal. They're so family orientated, it's amazing. You know, they have their pecking order, but they're very friendly to one another, and to me it reminds me of what I read about elephants. You know, they'll protect their young and go back to where, when they lose one, they'll go back to that spot, and the buffalo do that. They'll come back to that spot where we harvest one a day or two later. Yeah, it's quite amazing.
I realize that there's a ritual amongst bison or buffalo where they get together after one has been harvested, and I think what they do is they pay their respects, and their ritual is to send it off in their own format.
Kent's client, John, was there to help skin and butcher his buffalo, and I talked to him about why he keeps coming back.
Because Kent raises them, they're naturally grazed, grass-fed. Part of our lifestyle is eating organic as much as possible, as natural as possible. And we're very health conscious in what we eat and how we treat our animals. And of course, we want to respect the animals that we have, the animals that we eat, by utilizing every part of that, and just making sure that we honor in any way we can what's been given us to eat and nourish us.
I appreciate that John and his family utilize every part of the animal as they can, and that these bison are a locally sourced alternative to beef. After processing, about 35 to 40% of the animal's live weight is usable meat. Kent says he has to turn people away since he only harvests 6 to 9 per season.
I've only shot one buffalo here all the years we've had it, and I enjoy the people. I get them from, you know, Canada, a lot from lower Michigan, of course, and it's been awesome, meeting the people that come up, you know. That's what I like the best.
How long are you going to keep doing this?
Well, that I don't know. 81 now, so, but I enjoy it.
That's all for tonight, and I hope to see you right back here next week for Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.